Welcome back to Speaking with Gravity, where we discuss mental health and how everything affects everything. I'm your host, Kervin, and joining me in discussion today is Joshua and another special guest, Mr. Alex. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a journey from addiction to the journey when we're talking about addiction from recovery to sobriety. And I'm going to allow our guest to kind of introduce himself and talk about, like, you know, who you are, you know, what you do, how you got into the field, what your journey was like itself, just the journey of getting into the field, and then we kind of dive into it.
All right, yeah, so I'm Alex Simmons, like you said, from Greenville, South Carolina. My journey is I currently work for the Phoenix Center, which is the Greenville County Commission for Alcohol and Substance Use in Greenville. It's the single largest agency in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Single county largest agency in South Carolina, dealing with substance use. So I've been there for 8 years. I'm the manager over admissions there. So that basically I have counselors, nursing services, along with administrative duties up under my title. Outside of that, I have a virtual administration business that consults with private practice therapists to help them grow their businesses and start their businesses, and just doing work in the community, just to better my community.
Yeah, and then that's actually how I met Alex. Him doing community work with is YB. Y'all referred to
Young Brothers
YBA,
Academy.
Young Brothers Academy.
YBA the way.
Yeah, and this is the shirt that
Yes,
I got on. I took it from them, but well, I ain't take it from them. But I came to an event that they had, and I saw them repping it, and I was like, "Dang, man, I want one of those real bad." So I went on there and got it, which I guess we could put in the show notes if they can, how the link that they can go to get it. But how did you get involved? How did you even get that gig in substance abuse?
Oh, man. So it's a funny story, man. So honestly, my background ain't even in human services or nothing with counseling. I went to school for accounting, business.
Okay.
So when I became a junior at Clemson, I decided that this is what I didn't want to do.
Now, this is a USC grad.
I respect what you're talking about, but, you know, you said Clemson.
So we got a USC grad and the Clemson grad on the couch together.
It's going to be cool until around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool until around Thanksgiving.
I'm a Colorado. I'm going to go with Colorado this year anyway. We ain't going to talk about football.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, around that time, I realized the county wasn't for me. I had an internship, and I always promote internship to any undergraduate person now, because the biggest thing is you need to know the field you're getting in before you graduate to see what it's about. So I was doing some internships with accounting, and I realized this was the most boringest thing, and it ain't for me.
Well, did you do multiple internships or just kind of one?
I did just that one, and I knew it.
You knew it
I knew
immediately.
right there, right then. Just the work itself wasn't it.
Oh, yeah.
I decided that field because somebody came in high school and said how much money it made. So I already went in the wrong reason. From there, one of my directors at Clemson, with the Emerging Scholars Program, she had someone reach out to her looking for a mentor in Greenville, and I had just recently moved back. So she was like, the program didn't do that for that she was in, but she had a person she could appoint, which was me, and it happened to be geared with the Phoenix Center, which was at the time we had a place called White Horse Academy, which was for adolescents, adolescent residential for teenage males dealing with substance use disorder. So I went there and I just started volunteering and helping, met the young man, and I like what I seen there. That was my first really engagement with the field itself. in any capacity. I never knew this really existed at that point, even going through school and doing what I needed to do. So just seeing the young males and how they was just engaged, even though they're not with their families. Some of them dealing with DJJ issues and things like that. It weighed on, it pulled at my heart.
And did they have like substance issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the main priority. They was all dealing with substance use disorder.
Okay. All right.
Substance use issues.
And this is just volunteer.
At first, it started out volunteer, and then about a month in, one of the supervisors pulled me to the side and was like, "You should do this for work. You should get paid for this. You're good at it." So I was like, "I'll do it for free. Like, I'm just showing up. This is what I naturally do." And she was like, "Nah, here go an application. Fill that out, and I'll do the rest."
We're gonna get you paid for it.
So it just started out at that point, and then from there, I got within a week or two, I started working, and I did that for about 6 months of being a tech at there, so a direct care person for the boys. If that meant sending them to outings, making sure they get to their groups or school at the time. And I got to sit in the groups, and somehow I ended up being on a staffing team at that point. Because I could really hear the boys and some of the things that was going on when other staff was having issues with them. I would be the person to pull them to the side and have that conversation, and then be able to relay it to the counselor.
No, this wasn't it wasn't residential.
It was residential.
Oh, it was residential.
Yeah, this was a residential facility.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I think he mentioned DJJ. What's that stand for? Just for some of the folks.
Okay. Department of Juvenile Justice. So some of these boys could have had criminal records due to just different things. And when the probation agent or when they went to jail or anything, if it had anything to do with substance use and it wasn't a violent crime, they could then, instead of serving time criminally, they could then refer them to the residential facility for treatment.
DJJ would?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they would be there for a time period. And so you're in these different programs. You started out volunteer, but then you're in these different programs. The different programs that they are part of in the residence, you're facilitating those or helping them out in different ways.
Yeah. So I wasn't facilitating. I would be the person to make sure they get there. And then from there, I got to sit in to experience that room.
Okay.
So at that point, I really got to see what a group setting was like, what they was actually learning in when we talk about therapy and things like that. I got to really get to view these things.
Okay.
Did a lot of those youth look at their situation like they were abusing substances or like they were addicted?
Many of them did.
They didn't.
Many of them.
Was that a challenge? Like,
no, wasn't really a challenge for it because they had other issues there that we can address, such as anger issues, defiancy, just criminal-like thinking sometimes.
and I get
Non-compliance, defiance.
Yeah.
I guess my question kind of stemmed from just thinking about some of those that they had that unique struggle, like with substance abuse. Were they always willing to like admit to what they were going through as far as substance abuse, or say, "Hey, this is something I'm struggling with"?
Not always, no. But eventually, once you got them one-on-one and was able to break down some of those things, the pillars of all of it, it would come back to that where they can say, okay, yeah, this does affect how I show up.
And one-on-one a lot of times.
Yeah.
And when you're saying that, are you kind of like, and this is what I'm thinking when you're asking that question.
Sure.
Growing up, like, for me growing up, weed was like the thing. It was big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And nobody outside of like, your grandma or, you had a parent that's like, you're doing too much. You just didn't hear addiction, substance abuse. So are you speaking from that standpoint of like, are they willing to say, oh, okay, I might be abusing this substance or addicted, or is it just like, it's just a thing to do? Yeah, I do it every day. Yeah, I do it 2 or 3 times a day, but I ain't addicted. I used to hear this all the time. I can stop when I want to.
Yes,
But
sir.
no, but nobody, but nobody stopped when they wanted to. So I guess when I hear you say that, that's what I'm thinking. Like it's become so regular now, and even to the point where, like, when I'm watching TV shows, and it's one or two things that being on there. Either they're drinking or they smoking.
Yes.
One of the two. And it's almost like it's kind of like cool just to take the edge off at the end of the day. But it's every scene. And these scenes are being played as if it's repeated days. So you begin to process it in your mind as if this is cool. This is all right. I can do this.
When I'm a youth, it begins to be conditioning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Programming and conditioning.
Yes, exactly.
You know? And so that's my point exactly is, it becomes something that feels normal almost. So do they even feel as though that this is a problem that's affecting my life? And I think you kind of spoke to it because you were saying a lot of times when you get them one-on-one individually, then they'll kind of let you know that, I guess some things will come out and they'll think about it. They'll think about it like, okay, this is affecting my life, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, and I like how you said that. I think it was Kervin, like, this is normal for them day to day. Think about you send this person here and we saying it's a problem, but they know their mother using it. They know their father using it. But
that's tough.
Then they don't see an issue with it, but they get to come visit them smelling like it.
That's a whole nother thing.
It's a whole nother
like
pillar.
A trigger.
Yeah. Even to the point where you can have the kid that has that parent that enables them, and they know how to pull at it. Mom, I'm really missing home. You got me here. Please, just bring this for me. Just bring this for me.
In the parent.
And they'll give in sometimes. And because it's layers to it, it's many factors outside of just that adolescent. Even when we get to the adult clients as well, it's many factors too when we talk about the substance use disorder piece of how do everything play effect to it. So yeah, it's hard, and that was one of the reasons why I ended up saying I got to do something else, because I was seeing so much of these boys be able to make progression in the facility.
In the facility. And then they got to go back home.
They got to go right back to the same environment. And I seen go back 2 months dead, locked up for life, because when we put in violence of someone that did something to my homeboy, and I got to go back and I got to retaliate.
Yep.
I got to.
So in seeing these different things, can we break down, like, and not too extensively, but in those situations, what to you have been things that separate the ones who go back into society and, they thrive, as opposed to those who go back into society and then they end up back in DJJ or back seeing you or, dead or in jail or wherever? What are some of those things to you that separate those two different situations?
The one that take ownership of their own progression, saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is what we're doing. Understanding the treatment is mine. What I'm going through right now is my journey. Yes, and it's not on no one to tell me what this journey is. And being real, one big thing they used to always say in there is, I'm never going to use again. I'm never going to do it again. Right. And I always used to say, be real with yourself.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that. And like, your whole social society, your whole social smoke weed.
Everything you around, yeah.
Be real. If you just doing this for DJJ, just say, as long as I'm on DJJ and in it, I don't plan on using it because I don't want to be back here. Rather than I'm never going to use again.
As Outkast say, forever's a long time, right?
Forever. Like, so the ones that was real with themselves, and that really has dealt with some traumatic, maybe a major thing, maybe even going to overdosing and having to be revived, come back from. So those people, the ones that may have seen how real it can be, when they wasn't trying, and then you have some of that have experienced that and say, hey, I'm still willing to take that risk. But those people that really are real with themselves and take control of their own treatment and have a plan for future, not just for the place, but saying, I got this in place, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to stay committed in it. And they show that in the residential facility.
And I'm sure y'all are big on awareness too, right? Like going out, like what are some of the things that y'all go out and, if you're going out and creating this awareness, what are some of the things that you're teaching or that you're talking to them about?
Yeah, so like my company, we have a prevention department.
Okay.
So they go out, they have a why try type of curriculum.
What not? Break that down for me. Why try?
Why try?
It's a dope name.
Oh, well, it's kind of like y'all. Why try is kind of like mine. Just say no. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'd like to hear about it too.
Yeah. So it's a curriculum. It's a curriculum based program, and basically breaking down and educating the proper way about drugs. So a lot of times when we think of drugs, most of us, it was introduced to us with being used, not the real educational point of what it looks like, what's the reaction to it, and then some of the symptoms it can bring to you if you use it long term. Mm-hmm. So this breaks it down in a adolescent, young adult form, where they can start understanding the different type of usage points.
How can I get access to that? And because the reason being, we said this offline, and I guess I am going to go there. Mm-hmm. But we had an incident fairly recent, mm-hmm. and it caused me recent at one of the local high schools where somebody engaged in some substance was taken. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it caused me to have the conversation with my kids. Now, when I say it caused me to have the conversation, as a parent, sometimes you just kind of, I hear parents say, you know better than that. Mm-hmm. And I always ask parents, do they? And then when I was talking yesterday, I was like, dang, have I ever sat down and really just talked to my kids about substance abuse? And to be honest with you, I can't say that I have. I did yesterday, or the other day, I should say, literally having conversations about different substances, not just, what's current right now. I went back in my lifetime and said, okay, during this era, this was popular. During this era, this was popular, because it changes over time, but it's still substance, right? But with that being said, why try? I always felt it was good to have different curriculums. Now, I'm not going to give my kid a curriculum per se, but being able to go in and read some of the curriculum is like, oh, that prompts me to this dialogue with them in my own way, in my own terms. So how could we get our hands, or can we get our hands on that?
So what I would say is, I know, like I said, I work with Greenville County Commission. Mm-hmm. Check with your local commission to see if they have that prevention department, and if anyone is trained in giving that curriculum.
So for here in Greenwood, I think it would be Cornerstone.
Yes, it would be Cornerstone. Right. See if they have a prevention department. But when we're a commission, we are all sister agencies. So if they don't have it, then they would reach out to that next agency to them. Mm-hmm. Although we don't like to cross over without them reaching out. Right. So let's say Cornerstone don't have that program. They could reach out to Greenville and say, hey, do y'all have anyone that possibly could come out and do this for us? Mm-hmm. So that's how we try to help out with that.
And part of the reason you was about to speak on that.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say part of the reason why I asked. I read this study about loneliness and substance abuse.
Yes.
And so I just thought about it. When it comes to creating awareness, going out and creating awareness, maybe that's something that you all touch on, not sure. But the study, it had to do with mice, right? Mm-hmm. You may have heard of it. It had to do with mice. And they had 2 pots of water or whatever. One was clean water, one was heroin water, right? You heard of this before? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's really cool. And so I think when the mice were in there alone, they would try both water, right? But then they would go back to the heroin water, and they would go back so much that they would end up dying, from using, or just all these crazy behaviors. But then when they had a bunch of mice in there together, and they created like an ecosystem where they could play and just live around each other, which sounds gross, but when they did that though, some of the mice tried the heroin water, but none of them like really kept going back. And so most of them were going to the clean water over here. So none of them really got addicted. And it's almost, the theory behind it was support. When you have like a supportive ecosystem, and I guess the majority isn't, indulging in this. And another theory that came from it was loneliness. When someone's isolated and they're lonely. When I think about it, a lot of people, some people that I know that that have abused substances, it seemed like that was kind of a theme at some point in their lives, maybe around the time that they were doing that. And not saying that it started, it might have started with a group of friends, but then as they indulged in it, it's like they were doing it while they were alone and things like that. So, are there other things, I guess, like that you, so in my mind, loneliness is one thing, that, you definitely want to create awareness around, but are there other things that you all focus on?
So I know for us, one model we go off of that was formed by Jeff Georgi from Duke, and my mentor is the trainer in it in the Southeast, James Campbell, is we say biology, psychologically, experiential, spiritual, social model, a motivational model. So basically, when we talk biology, I don't know if y'all look back, we all probably had grandmothers or mothers that just couldn't get away from that Pepsi.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, go too far down there.
Yeah. So you just had to have it, right?
Right.
Even though the doctor told you this is affecting you, sometimes they would still get it, right?
Wow.
So biologically, when we talk about substance use, how did it start? Why was they doing it? It could have been some people I know could have been that pain. Multiple athletes started painkillers, and it was helping out with their pain, and then they eventually their pain came back. They started taking more, and then eventually the doctor may have cut them off from it because you should be good. But you done got used to this. Your body biologically done got used to it, though. But the doctor's saying, no, you don't need it. But my pain's still here. And I got to do something to help out with that. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that.
So doctors never do, like, exit counseling almost to assess whether or not.
Let me speak to that.
Go ahead.
Please.
They should, at some point, come back and reassess periodically. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say, I could probably get one on here. But every so often, they're supposed to go through and reassess the medicine that they're given. So either try to wean them off of it with lower doses, and if they go in it stronger, they have to have a reason for going stronger. And I believe there are regulatory program services that watches over that. But it's kind of like, I'm saying hit and miss, but I'm not really meaning hit and miss. Like, they don't just say, all right, we're going to do every doctor. It's just every so often they're going to pick different providers and check in on them.
Okay.
So it's still easy to kind of, when you got so many doctors in a state, somebody may not check as often as they should or reassess as often as they should. It may not. I'm not trying to throw doctors under the bus, but doctors have 300, 3,000, however many clients they got. They don't remember, I haven't checked this person in 90 days, or I haven't checked this person in 60 days. Maybe until that person's right there in front of them, they're thinking, man, when the last time I checked to see, can I wean them off of this particular one? So, we have all of that comes in play too.
Yeah, and secondly with that is, I want to be honest. Sometimes it's not just the doctors. How many times have you went to the doctor and the doctor gave you that recommendation that you didn't do properly the recommendation, you just took the medication? because it's always an order of what you should be doing to get better. But a lot of times culturally we have been thought to, I just want the symptom
to go away.
I'm not thinking long term. I just want the now, and that's how substance users think. Like, I just want the fix now.
And to your point about loneliness, right? If I just want that symptom of loneliness to go away, it's easier for me to engage instead of for me to build the right people around me.
Yeah.
For me to properly build my support system, or for me to get away from whatever I don't need around me.
And look, if I'm lonely, I'm probably gonna go around people doing the same thing. If I'm lonely and I'm a substance abuser, I'm probably gonna go around other substance abusers.
Other lonely
And
substance
that
abusers.
and that's gonna
And that's how you get
compound
introduced to other things.
other substances
So
as well.
yeah. So that's the biologically, when you feeling something and you just want that and you need it for a physical thing. And we have medicated assisted treatment for that, to help with that as well. But it's about, like you said, reaching out so people are aware of these things when you're going through it.
I was just saying, so part of my question with that, though, my reasoning behind it, I was just thinking, when a doctor says, okay, you don't need this medication anymore, who's to say that person, isn't going to find a way to keep taking? Who's to say they're not addicted already? So at that point, when the doctor is saying you don't need it no more, I guess there's no kind of like talk around. Like,
I've seen people switch doctors. Too.
Yeah, I was about to say they go med seeking.
Yeah.
They go switching providers, and now it's they're getting a database where it's getting a little better.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, where you have the different communications, and hopefully they can get up under the same one.
That could be
but
good.
When you're thinking addiction, like, you're gonna do whatever to fix it. So it's gonna try to find loopholes to get what you want out of, to get what you desire. Especially when it's going untreated. I'm just doing what I need to do to get what I want at that moment, and I want what I want.
We need to get back to. I say we need to get back to it as if we've gotten away from it. I don't know if we've gotten away from it, but I remember the cabinet in the bathroom being locked. Like, you couldn't just get into the cabinet where medicine was at now. And it sometimes it seems like you hear more and more stories of this child got into the cabinet and was able to get it, or this person started selling drugs in middle school, or because they was able to get the medicine and pay, and get money for it. I mean, it's opportunistic for them. Yeah. I'm in middle school. I don't know what this medicine can do. And somebody wanted. I remember in undergrad, it was something going on at work, man, and I was just kind of off. I guess I was like, and I mentioned it. I was like, I'm off, and this person was like, here you go, and it might have been Adderall or something like that. And if I'm being honest, my stupid behind took it. I took it, but it didn't. It must not have been a strong dosage because it didn't really do anything for me. But I thought about it later, like, number one, I shouldn't have taken it. But number two, people are getting meds for themselves and saying, I'm not going to take it, but I give it to somebody else. And then not knowing how it's going to affect them. And the next thing you know, you actually done got hooked to that. I have taken Adderall for focus where it actually came in and did its job. I don't particularly like it. It does the job of keeping you focused, but I don't like it at all. So it's not something that I could like consistently do. And I can't even imagine kids who are having to be on it for ADHD in elementary school, middle school. Pretty sure they don't like it either because it gives you a different feel to your body. But
yes, sir.
I imagine, man, I'm gonna ask this question before you go, Joshua. But I imagine with you. So you started out working with kids in a residence, and you eventually got to the part now where you're dealing more with administration. But you've been with them for 8 years. What's some nuggets that you picked up along the way with regards to substance abuse?
Oh, man, nuggets. One of the biggest is I believe in the disease model. I believe this is a disease, just like cancer. and it can come back at any point. No one just really asks for it. It can affect anyone, anybody that's rich, poor, professional, graduate, unprofessional, unemployed. It's going to affect it. It literally touches everything. And then the next one is, a lot of times we tend, when it comes to substance use, to not look at the person as a human being, but look at them as their symptom. So yeah, they use substances. They're a person that use substances, but we want to say that's a junkie.
Yeah.
That's a crackhead.
I was just thinking about it.
Like, just the demeaning of what I'm going through going to already make me not feel like I want to be supported.
That's crazy.
So one of the huge factors that we do is automatically showing you and giving you that power back of you are human. I have had many letters come in from individuals that I most likely didn't see myself, but because I say, hey, blah, 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 how you doing today? That lasted an impact on that person, just by remembering that person's name. And so when they get those experiences, those rare experiences in their life, that can keep them going.
They're not just a number. They're a person.
Giving them the power of letting them know this is their treatment. I think we talk about with addiction and recovery, everybody always want to get to sobriety. You got to be sober. And that's not everybody's pathway. That's not everybody's pathway. And letting them know that, hey, your pathway is your choice, and let us support you. Now, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to support you into getting what you want out of this.
Out of what?
Out of when you come to us seeking substance use.
When you say sobriety is not everybody's pathway, there's a phrase for it. Are you talking that you have the option of abstinence, or you have the options of just weaning yourself off, or you have the option of just not being carried away? Like, I might engage, but I'm not going to go overboard.
Yeah.
There's a word for it, a phrase for it. I forgot what it was.
We got harm reduction model.
Harm reduction. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So it don't automatically have to go straight to abstinence. It could be the harm reduction model, which is basically weaning yourself off of it, or getting down to a lower and lower and lower use from day to day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. And it's like, it goes back to being true with yourself. Of basically, which model do you want to choose? Which one you want to go with? And what does that look like as far as making sure you're surrounded by the support that really supports that for you? And a lot of times, everybody wants to tell them what's best for them, instead of listening to that person.
And with that harm reduction model, right? I didn't do my research before I came in and did this particular episode, but I want to make sure whoever's listening.
That's why you got the expert.
Yeah, reduction is, you're reducing it.
Yes, so.
Right? And the harmful effects that substances can cause, and you're doing it in that manner as opposed to complete and total abstinence.
Yes.
But y'all can always look it up. Or you can call Alex.
I get you in touch with somebody.
And I wanted to ask, so as someone, just like a family member or somebody in the public, a friend or something like that, when they see someone, one of their loved ones at the beginning stages where they starting to exhibit behaviors in response to that substance abuse, what is something that they should not? What are some things that they should not do? So I know calling them a crackhead, like you said, labeling them like that. And I know not shaming them, by telling them.
Over the years, I've gotten better with that, right?
You gotten better?
Yeah, because I would just chime in, crackhead, whatever you're gonna say, and I'm
as a family member.
No, just period. This in life. Like if I'm seeing somebody.
Oh, okay.
Like you in Atlanta, you in one of the biggest cities. Like, oh man, that crackhead right there. Look, and especially when you're in the cities, man, they can do anything. You know, somebody could be singing to themselves, or they can be high and they could be responding a different way. And in the past, my responses have been, man, look at that crackhead over there. And now I won't say that. You know, I might, if I say, look at that person, I'm gonna say, look, this person is singing to themselves.
Okay, yeah.
Right? But I try to even get away with that because you never know what somebody going through,
right.
how they got there, where they at in their stage of their life, and that little phrase about you never know what somebody going through. Be nice to everybody. That really matters, man. That makes a whole lot of sense. But
we should live by that. We should try to live by that.
Definitely got to wait for the crackhead. But I'm sorry about that.
No, you good.
I used to be, but I'd be on it.
You good? But for both of y'all though, so what are some things you feel like, especially for you, Alex? What are some things you feel like folks shouldn't do, you know, in response to seeing other people exhibit those behaviors? Of course, I'm gonna say, you know, don't call nobody no crackhead. Don't shame them by telling them what they are or you know, or what they doing wrong. I'm gonna say rather, you know, how they're making you feel or how they're making their family members feel with their behavior. But what are some things that we shouldn't do?
That's definitely some major ones. The next one is coming from a consequential state.
What does that mean?
So if someone is doing, is on substances and let's say they have a probation case or anything coming from a, hey, you're going to go to jail type thing. This person already knows what they have like in it. Like that's not like really supporting them.
Don't focus on the
consequences.
Okay.
Secondly, like your kid's not gonna like you due to this. You know what you're doing to them. A lot of times, that's already a pull at their heart.
They already know that.
They already know that.
Yeah, because I feel like I feel like a normal person would try to use something like that. You know, if they weren't aware, they would try to use something like that to pull someone back into.
But understanding that's shaming.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That goes back to the shaming because I know all this and I still can't. When I go back to it's a disease, we don't tell a cancer person they're hurting their loved one because the cancer came back. So when this person is dealing with this, we have to look at it like, how can we help get them the treatment and support they need and what they're going through? And what does that look like for them? What do you need in this moment? Is it food?
And when they don't know what they need.
When they don't know what they need, it's showing them, like you talked about the mice, they're not isolated. I'm not going to continue to push you away from me, even if you want to continue to push away. I'm here for you. And that's many a times where they don't feel is here for. And a lot of times they sometimes want to not be looked at because of the things they're doing, because they don't understand it. I really don't want to do this, but I do it.
Self-sabotage to some degree.
Yes. Yeah. So how do we build that back up and understand, like, what are some of the things they're mentally going through? Because it could be multiple things. You talked about a man singing on the side of the street to himself, and it may have been the drugs, or that person may not be mentally treated it as well. So which one comes first? Because there's many factors of things not dealt with. So we do a trauma-informed care model, and when we talk about trauma-informed care, a lot of people think just the trauma piece. Oh yeah, I done did trauma work.
Oh, okay.
But trauma-informed care is not trauma work. Trauma-informed care is an antidote to trauma, which is how do we show up and believe everyone has been traumatized in some kind of way. And how do we make sure we're not trying to re-traumatize them? If that means this person's mom is used to them yelling at them, how do we make sure I might not yell at them, but what I say might feel like yelling. So how do I make sure I'm not re-traumatizing this person? And understand that. And the best way is asking, hey, do you want my assistance? Do you mind if I show up today? And if they say no, okay. Give them that. Not force yourself in the help you want to give on that person because it's their choice.
Yeah, I know something. I feel as though part of the problem too is whether we talk about trauma, substance abuse, mental health, or whatever. A lot of times, people on the outside looking in believe that the focus is exclusively and solely on the person who's going through those things. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, those people who aren't going through those things, family members, others, they need that awareness too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need that awareness. Otherwise, they're going to continue to call them crackhead. They're going to continue to shame. Mm-hmm. Everything that you just said, I think everybody needs to be aware of that. Everybody needs to hear that. Mm-hmm. Because I would not have even thought, when you gave the example about saying what it's doing to their kids, mm-hmm. I would have thought myself that was just that's something that needed to be brought up. But you said they already know that. Mm-hmm. I'm a regular person. I'm not in mental health or substance abuse or anything, so I'm not thinking like that. Mm-hmm. But that needs to, our loved ones, and the ones who support us or who want to support us, they need to be aware of those things. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're just going to be part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. One of the things you said earlier, I wanted to go back to. One of the things that I think would be beneficial for us that's trying to support people, instead of shaming, instead of the consequential information that we're providing them. They know these things already, right? But sharing why I live life without abusing substances. Mm-hmm. Being able to show, okay, how life can actually be magical without substances. How life is good without me having to engage every single day with getting high or getting drunk or whatever the case is. Why don't I have to do it, or I have to stay focused on that in order to live a good life? If I can share that with the individual, then maybe they're more likely to say, oh, okay, this is what's up, and I can probably do that too. I can probably do that as well. But we just have to be mindful of presentation.
Presentation, yes.
Presentation of, okay, what do I do as a result of X, Y, and Z?
Mm-hmm. And I think a big piece of that is, hey, when you identify some of these things, not trying to push it on the person, but hey, I found this resource. Do you want to try it?
Okay.
Versus what you should be doing. Hey, what can we try? Are you willing to try something? Are you even wanting to get out of this yet? It is a big mind shift there. Mm-hmm. Because I'm gonna be real with you. When you say that person may say, well, let me tell you why I have to use substances to wake up every day, mm-hmm. to stay up every day. Mm-hmm. So their life may be different. They may be hearing those voices, and that substance may stop that voice to them. They may be dealing with someone, dealing with homelessness, and that substance take them out of that, having to think about, this is why I have to end up tonight. Secondly, that substance, they may be dealing with past abuse and things. No telling what they done went through, and that substance helps numb that to them. That's their coping. That's their way. Now, the second piece is knowing there's healthier copings, like you just said. There's healthier ways. But how do we get them to the point to identify those things? And that's making them aware of the supports they have. And when they come to these supports, making sure it's equitable and accessible for them. And that's where my role come in at, is making sure it's accessible as quick as it can be. Mm-hmm. Because as I know, if they don't, it takes a lot of courage to come in that door. But if they can't get it that day, they may not come back through that door. Mm-hmm. Now, some may be ready, but some may not. And that may be their last straw that day. So how can I give them that one hope?
Yeah. Dang. So you try to make sure that it's accessible. Like, I make sure that whatever they need, if I can connect with whatever resources, I want them to be able to have it that day, if possible.
If possible.
And if not, as soon as they can. I didn't even thought about that from that aspect. What's your favorite parts of the job?
He just asked me that.
Oh,
he asked me that outside. Yeah, before the thing.
I'm sorry, it's the pre-interview.
Yeah,
I keep telling him to quit pre-interviewing people.
my bad for telling on you, man. You supposed to told me not to say nothing. We was just introducing ourselves. But the best part of the job is honestly, I'm gonna talk about an experience I had this week. I had one of my community partners call, and he called. He was like, "Hey, this parent called me about their son. He had his wits end. He came in. He's supposed to be in our program. He came in, and he said he's homeless. And then I got to talking to him more about what's really going on. And he said he had substance use, and he said he was willing to go into a residential because he doesn't want to live on the street anymore. He's tired of it. His mom and grandmother said they can't do it no more for him. So I was able to say, hey, come bring him on to the office. We can at least get the starting process started for the screener. That was my thought. I'm just going to get the screener process started. Got him there, and literally within an hour, we're able to say, you got a bed. So that, cool, we happy.
Yeah.
But then the human aspect hit. How fast this just moved on a human. You telling me I got to move, I got to do all this, and I got to, this was something I said I wanted. I didn't say I was ready for it to do it right now.
Okay.
So how do I pull on some of those resilient strengths he just had? And to discuss those things. So when to see that click, those things starting to click for that person, not for me, but for that person. So when we was going through the process, we talked about some of the things you can't have in our building. One of them is a cell phone. Imagine you coming in and you just meeting me, and I say you can't have your cell phone.
How long can they not have it? The whole time they know?
For this particular building, for this particular program, the whole time. But we have other avenues for it. They have a phone on that particular suite, and then they get to go into the support networks. They don't stay in the building. They're not locked away. So when he said that, he said, "Oh, I can't have social media." And I was like, "Well," I said, "Man, you just said this is what you wanted." I said, "You gonna let social media be in the way of that?" Like, put it back. You're right. Like I said, but I know that is difficult, because if you tell me I can't imagine life right now without it. Like, be real, I can't.
Yeah.
I said, but there's some bigger things you want. So the next piece was, he was like, all right. I said, secondly, it's not jail. You get to come out and go. I said, although, hey, just give it a try today. Yeah. Even if you decide not to stay after today, you done made one step of even just trying something, and that's a success. And I said, secondly, if you don't complete it fully, we're still here. It's not like you can't come back here. We're not a program to say, hey, because you didn't successfully complete the first time, you can't never come back. And when I said that, it was like, oh, yeah, I'll try it. And for him, we just talked about it as a staff yesterday, for him to still be there and saying, hey, I know y'all got things, rules, but I'm going to be working here once I get past my timeline. Wow. Mm-hmm. So again, when you went back to the earlier, how do I know people that's really going to succeed? Mm-hmm. I hope when they have something like that they can stick to it. Mm-hmm. I know it don't always pan out like that, but they have something to hold on to keep them going. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, that's always a golden success story. So when we talk about success stories, that's that piece of seeing people really get that light up.
So I'm rooting for the young man.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Rooting for you, yeah.
Whoever he is. But going to the success story, right? You mentioned at the very beginning, we about to kind of ease our way out. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned working with private people in private practice, counselors in private practice. to like kind of build a business. Can you speak a little bit more to that before we get out of here? Because I'm pretty sure there's some success stories there too. And how long have you been doing that piece of it?
So my entrepreneurial piece, I have been doing 2 years.
Okay.
As an official business, but for about 3 years, I have 3 to 4 years, I have been educating and dabbling in it. But to create myself as a business was 2 years ago. With that is the role I play, or the role my agency play, is an accessible place for people that's looking to go into therapy as well, straight out of college. So we are a teaching agency. That's what we label ourselves as. So as you know, most therapists has to have credentials and licensure. We help them on the process to get that and cover some of those for them. So some of them end up, although we want everyone to love our place and stay, some of them end up going out and saying, hey, this is what I want to do after I get my credentials. So some have went on to private practice and tried the endeavor. And they start realizing the structure our agency can have, or other agencies can have, that you don't have to worry about as a business owner.
Right.
You just, the clients come to you, you see them, do the notes, and get on through. They don't talk. You don't have to think about a budget. You don't have to think about the Medicaid manual and the Medicaid standards and all the other standards that goes into running a practice. Mm-hmm. They're like I said, there's administrators for that. And that's what we study. So COVID happened, and I mean, you know, all these podcasts and things came out about basically making sure you're educating yourself, even at work is an education ground. And I realized how much education I have that many people don't have. So the more I talked to people, I realized I was giving people free game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I had a son. Mm-hmm. I got to get another income. So from there, when I started talking, people going into private practice, if they reached out to me, I set up a package for them, and then from there, I realized people will start paying for it. That's really what it was. The first person went from, and she had an established practice. Hers was, I really don't want to talk with the new inquiries, because I can't really get back to them because I'm constantly in sessions. I really don't want to do the billing aspect of for the insurance. I just don't have time for it. Let me help you. She was making about $5,000 a month. Literally, when me and her went into partnership, she went from $5,000 to $10,000 that next month.
Let's go.
Per month since then.
Let's go.
And like I tell them, when you have to do these minute things, you don't realize how much time you're spending on it. So there's people out here that do those tasks. Let me connect you with those people. So not only am I helping one of my therapists out, but I'm also helping someone in my community out to earn extra cash. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting to employ my community as well. So that's one success story. The second one is one guy started, and he was part-time private practice person, and then he worked full-time. And his goal was get out to do it full-time. So he really didn't have to go out and see clients. So my success story with him is I have been able to provide him a referral avenue, at least 5 referral avenues that he was unaware of, to get him to be able to leave his job and do that full time as of now. And then the next piece is realizing everything this field has to offer. Everyone always talk about I'm a counselor, or I work this and it don't pay that much until you change your mindset. And that's what I like doing in this field, is changing a mindset to that.
Yeah, so we're gonna be getting together, and we've talked to each other, but yeah, we got to get you. We got to go ahead and make this happen. So, any parting words that you want to share out there for anybody?
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely, Kervin. We connected on talking about mental health with young brothers. And although I'm not a counselor per se, I always say I'm a advocate for it. I'm always an avenue to make sure I'm getting it to my community. So honestly, I appreciate your yes to that, and knowing how honestly we'll be connected for a long time now. But the leave out point I have is
tell them about you got an event coming up in October.
Yeah, but
the gala.
Yeah, October 14th. So yeah, we did hit on that one. Young Brothers Academy. Young Brothers Academy is a mentoring organization for boys from middle school to high school that we look to educate, empower, and expose to the different aspects of life outside of the classroom. And as you see on Kervin's shirt, it's a tree, because we believe the tree symbolizes growth and branching out, and it takes a village to do so. So with that, we are doing a Honoring the Promise Gala on October 14th. Tickets will be ending September 29th. So if you haven't got it, go ahead and get your tickets. That's youngbrothersacademy.org. Again, it's youngbrothersacademy.org. And man, when I say it's a life-changing experience, Kervin, you've been in the room with the young boys and how that is. So to see these brothers really in a formal setting, and how much people talk about us in society, this is an image we don't get much. So I think if you want a moving experience, this will be one. I definitely would say support.
Yeah.
Can we get the hoodie or some gear on the site as well?
You can go buy it.
We're gonna tag it in the note. We're gonna tag it in the show notes. We'll tag it in the show notes.
I'm sure people, because it's nice.
Yeah.
Y'all seen Kervin?
Yeah.
And we are a nonprofit. Don't have any grants by anyone. All this is totally built off the community. We're 6 years in, and the founder, Justice Cox, always say it's God's grace that to show our community still backs us for us to last. Every dime we have, it has came from the community.
And that's what's up. I've seen this before. He who controls the media controls the mind, the masses, right? Society. That's what we're getting. We're receiving media all the time. That's our entertainment diet. And so to have, again, 3 African-American males in the field and discussing substance abuse, it's not something that you're going to see regularly on various forms of media. But we're here today. So I appreciate you coming out, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Speaking with Gravity. Hope you found this episode very insightful. If you did, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on various social medias that we have. And as always, take care of your mental well-being. Continue to have these important conversations. A lot of change starts with just conversation. So if this was beneficial to you, this particular episode, go and talk about it at your dinner party, your next dinner party, your next date. Have those conversations on dates. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen to us. I forgot to do this. Josh, how can they get in contact with you if they want to get in contact with you?
At Garvey 4 Prayers. That's at GARVEY, the number 4 Prayers.
All right. And Alex, how can they get in contact with you?
Instagram would be at WA Sims. Again, that's WA Sims. Facebook, Alex Simmons. LinkedIn, Alex Simmons. What else I'm on? That's about it.
Ooh, LinkedIn, that's big. Joshua Williams on LinkedIn. I'm trying to get out there on LinkedIn, baby.
I'm on LinkedIn too. I don't hardly check it, but
man,
I'm on
I
got to do a better job.
You're in a great space too.
Yeah.
Like you should even put you're in a great space to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I do speaking engagements and leadership training. So I definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like
me and Alex gonna be working together. He gonna put me in those spaces that I need to be in.
Definitely.
It sounds like he hip to it. So
Yeah.
Get with people who know what they're doing.
Absolutely. So Gravity, if you want to find me in Gravity Counseling Group or Speaking with Gravity, follow us on the various platforms. But thank y'all for being here. You could be doing anything in the world, but you chose to be with us, and we appreciate that. This isn't therapy, it's a podcast.